Sam, thank you so much for joining me here on the Washington Times. A lot to break down here. You have been speaking out. You are from Iran, and I want to start. We're going to get into your story, but what has it been like watching the fall of the Ayatollah, the U.S. and Israeli actions there? What has that been like to process for you?
You know, it's not just me, it's also the Iranian people that in the diaspora and also everybody in Iran that have been waiting for this moment for decades. I mean, take a look at what has been happening, not just the past month of the protest, but every once in a while, there's a protest that breaks out that people want nothing but freedom and basic human rights. And this is something that everybody was looking forward to, and it sort of created a sort of momentum for hope. And it was amazing. It was a good moment to celebrate, but it was also a moment to realize that this might be a time where the Iranian people have to be united, and they have to take advantage of the opportunity, once in a lifetime opportunity to finally take back the country that has been taken as hostage, if you may say, by the Islamic Revolution for the past 47 years.
Yeah, I mean, watching what happened with those protests, and I do want to talk about your story and leaving and coming here to America, but watching the protests, hearing the numbers, the mass numbers of people who were killed and injured in that, what was that like for you? I imagine you obviously have family there. I would imagine still.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I like to always say that I have 90 million immediate family in Iran. And the reason why I say that is because at times, especially when they want to speak about their basic human rights or protest or whatever that they want to express, they don't have such a thing as freedom of speech. I mean, that country is filled with propaganda, and basically they are not able to speak on what they really want. So every time they have a protest or took the streets, they have been killed, they have been murdered, and there is also a blackout that happens every single time. They get disconnected from the world. So it's extremely important for the Persians in the diaspora to sort of be the voice. And this time, they had millions of people joining the protest in Los Angeles, New York, Toronto, in Berlin, and they all rose up, and it was one of the most beautiful protests the world has ever seen. I'm not just saying that and being biased because I'm Persian, but it was a peaceful protest, and it was a protest that took place in Los Angeles, and people were peacefully protesting and respecting to the point where they were picking up trash after the protest, and they were waving the American flag in America. They were waving the Canadian flag in Canada, and they were not a sign of graffiti. And it was a proud moment for me to finally see unity. And that's the most important part. And that's giving so much information that after the Islamic Republic, this is not going to be an Iraq situation, or this is not going to be a Syria situation. This is going to be different, just giving the fact that there's unity and there is a leadership that this revolution have, that the millions of people that took the streets in the diaspora and people in Iran have only asked for one name, which is Reza Pahlavi, which is the former crown prince of Iran. And he is someone that I've directly met with. I've gone to his meetings and I've met his team, and he has nothing but a future for a democracy for Iran. And he wants unity, and he wants everybody to be able to pick their next leader, not, another government or another monarchy that he is a generation of. So I truly believe this is an opportunity for the Iranian people to finally take back the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, you mentioned, Syria and obviously Afghanistan and Iraq and all of these situations that haven't gone well. This seems different in that the Iranian people remember what freedom was like. They lived under it not long ago, and this is a people who, from what I understand, are very educated. They understand, I don't know if you want to reflect on that at all, but I do think, just to reiterate what you said, a lot of people were very negative going into this because they're looking at other issues that have happened in the Middle East. And yet this feels different, and it feels far overdue that people would be granted freedom in a country where they've been screaming for it for so
Yeah.
long.
I'll tell you why it's different. You know, coming from a country, you know, I was born and sort of raised in Iran, and in my situation, I always like to say before this revolution or before anything that happened, everybody that leaves that country end up doing great things. And if you take a look at what that country has done in the past 47 years, I think the only invention they've ever, you know, announced was the suicide drones, the Shahi drones that they're using now. That's the only invention this country has ever put out in the last 47 years. But if you take a look at the people, they like to say the flea of the brains. That means everybody that's smart, everybody that wants a different life, they end up leaving Iran. And if you take a look at the immigration communities, there are a lot of great immigrants that come to America for a great dream, right? That's what America is built up on, immigrants and diversity. Iranian immigrants often are one of, if not the number one, number two of the most successful Iranian Americans as immigrants in America. Look, take a look at Silicon Valley. Take a look at all these engineers, all these CEOs, and everybody. Not only in academics as well. I mean, take a look at what this country has done. Take a look at Cannes Film Festival. There has been amazing directors that came from Iran with censorship and that are up for awards that have won the whole festival. Jafar Panahi is a great director that had gone, his films has gone around the censorship, and they win. Take a look at the music they make. They win Grammys. They do amazing things out of the second they leave that country. So that's one of the reasons why that we don't have to worry about another government. But if you go back to what happened in Iraq, Iraq didn't have a unified country. They didn't ask for a regime change. You know, they had Saddam Hussein and they had a leader, and once he was done, they were looking for a new leader. Iran has a leader. The leader right now in Iran, when they were protesting, they were doing it under the sun and lion flag, which is the pre-revolutionary flag that belongs to the Iranian people. And when the Islamic Republic took over, they had sort of changed the flag and changed everything. And they had only asked for one name, which is Reza Pahlavi. And that name is out there in the diaspora. Everybody's calling out his name. And he has a great agenda and he has great plans for the country. And Iran is sort of a different country when it comes to the Middle East. I mean, if you go back in history, Iran was the center of the world. It was a connection between East and West, and it was a Western country, and they really believe in everything that we spoke about. I mean, take a look at Iran is not just a country; it's a civilization. It has art, philosophy. We do have our own sort of Shakespeare that's called Ferdowsi. He wrote a Shahnameh, which is mythological creatures. I'm actually wearing one of the shirts. This is called the Seamorg. And Seamorg was a bird that was a protector of heroes. And that's giving all the heroes that have died in the protest. You know, we had 40,000 people that were killed and that they came into the streets knowing that they want to be killed because they had nothing to lose. And they wanted to promise a future to the future Iranians, especially the ones that are not born yet. And that's what we stand on. We stand on art, philosophy. We're passionate people, and we want just freedom. And you know, going back to Cyrus the Great, Iran was the hub of human rights. They invented human rights. And imagine if you take that country over and not separate the religion and state and force a religion upon a country that's diverse. They have multiple different languages. We have multiple different religions. We like to celebrate every religion. We celebrate everyone. And going back to women history, I know it's Women History Month. Am I correct? I
Yeah,
think
it was world. I think it was women's. It was at least Women International Women's Day, I
something
believe.
like that. But going back to Cyrus the Great, I mean, he was it was one of the empires that actually give women human rights. I mean, if you go back to the 40s, Iranian women had more rights than women in Switzerland. But take a look at now, women are second
Wow.
class citizens. And even dogs, as you see, I got a dog right behind me. You cannot walk a dog in public. And there's no human rights in the country whatsoever. So
It's
I feel,
unbelievable. It is Women's History Month too, by the way.
yep,
Yes, it's March. Sorry,
yes,
it took me a minute.
yes,
It's unbelievable that that the situation devolved and the world sort of watched, and you saw again and again and again these moments, these pockets of protest. I think the most recent one was the most notable, obviously, really telling the world, please help us. We need help, we need freedom. I have to ask you your story, because you and your family, what was it that made you leave? Can you reflect a little bit on that? Because I'm looking at somebody right now who very much is living the American dream, right? I mean, you have come here, you're living this incredible dream. And I can't speak for you, but I imagine from the outside looking in. But what was it that brought you here?
From me, from if you're an immigrant, you understand. It doesn't matter where you're from, Venezuela, Cuba, Persian, if you're Latino, if you're from Europe, doesn't matter. When you come to America, you come for one thing, which is freedom. Freedom of speech, something as simple as that. And then you go into the other great things America has to offer, which is opportunities. That's why I understand America is not a perfect country. I know we have our domestic issues that we need to focus on, but we are the closest thing to perfect. And you would have to be an immigrant to understand. And for me, it was just like the 90 million people that are there. I mean, they're artists. They have a beautiful heart. They want to celebrate life. They want to succeed. They want to get educated, and they want to do great things. They are children of Cyrus the Great. They have the bloodline just like me, and we are not able to do that. If you're a woman, if you're a man, I mean, take a look at all my friends that stayed back. They were so talented and such amazing people. I knew they would succeed in America, but they stayed back, and one of them was murdered in one of the protests. And it's just
Oh, I'm so
giving
sorry.
it's just giving the fact that it's not even the oppression of the government is not what they're forcing into the country, is the management. I mean, take a look at the deal that they were trying to make with America. The only agenda they had was power over the safety of their people. I mean, right now they're not providing any shelters, they're not doing anything, but they're using terrible things to actually put more people in life in danger, to paint America as this evil. So this is an unfortunate situation that war had to happen, but the Iranian people have been asking for help for a very long time. And in my story, I owe everything to America, but I do come from a country that does need my help as well. And that's why I'm here today, and I feel deeply responsible to speak on this matter.
Was it difficult leaving, in terms of obviously emotionally, but also, how you were a teenager, right, when you left?
I was around 12 years old. I
Okay.
came to the U.S. alone because it took a few years for my sisters to also come here. But we were a family dominating by three sisters, and you cannot
Sam,
live in
you
a.
came alone. You came to America alone.
I came to America alone as my family. I had met my uncle and father, and my
Wow.
father had gone back to sort of situate my sister's thing. So if you always listen to people that migrate to America, they sort of leave everything behind and they start from zero. So we sort of got separated for a few years. It was a tough situation, but again,
Yeah, what was
we
that
came
like
here
for
with
you, being a kid, preteen, having to be separate from your family and moving in obviously with relatives, but people they weren't your immediate family. What was that like for you?
my family, understood that there was not going to be a future for us in Iran. And just like there's no future for almost anybody in Iran. So
Wow.
we sort of were enthusiastic, especially coming to America. I always, like many Iranians that are in Iran, they love America. They look at, I used to look at movies. I used to want to dress like American. I used to just want to be American so bad. And for me, just to be able to have the opportunity to be in a country where the possibilities are limitless and the sky is the limit, it was just incredible. And the happiness that I felt overtook the separation that I had from my family. So it was just a matter of, this is the card that we're dealt, and that's the type of government that we have to escape in order to do great things. And look, take a look. We are immigrating to one of the best countries in the world.
Yeah, well, I love that, and I appreciate you joining me, sharing your story today, Sam. Thanks so much for your time.